Hello, hello. Faisal Abbas here again. Today's session will be a very interesting one and short sweet. Today we're going to be creating security groups. We're going to cover what are the default ports, what ports do we need to access our instances like Windows or Linux, access mechanism, and how do we punch holes for internal access and how do we punch holes for external access. So let's dig that in. Let's log into the console. Console URL is the same console.aws.amazon.com. I am already logged in. Let me pull it up real quick here. All right, so I am logged in with my root account and my default region is North Virginia. All right, to go into the security groups, several ways of getting in there. Easiest and the fastest is under the under the AWS management console. Under all services, you see compute, and EC2 is the first one. Click on EC2. All right, so under the EC2, we are in the EC2 dashboard right now. Every free tier account that comes with one default security group, we try to avoid using the default ones. So I'm gonna scroll down here on my left bar under the network and security, you see the security groups. So I'm gonna click on it. Once I click on it, you see that I have one default one, which is that has a default security group ID. It's a default name. There's no tag associated with that. VPC ID is their description about the VPC. Don't worry about the VPC at this time. This will be covered in the network section. Once I cover the network area and the security area. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hover my mouse over under the name, which is blank, and I'm going to just click on the edit. I'm going to just name it as default SG. Okay, default security group. I'm going to save it as. So this is saved here. Every security group has at the bottom you see that it has inbound rules and outbound rules and the tags. So under the tags you see that the name which I just gave, default SG, it is under the tags. All right, so inbound rule, what is the difference between inbound rules and outbound rules? So your Windows instance or your Linux instance that you have recently launched, so it has yours. If I just, let me create one here for you. So this is my, let's say, my Linux instance, and at this time it is a closed door, like there are no openings here. So if somebody is trying to access from the internet here to this instance, there is no door opening. So what port does is, port is an opening in that instance. Let's say this is the front door and this is the port opening. So anybody coming from the internet will be able to access this instance without any problem going through this door. So the ports are, let's just consider them, for the lack of better term, as the front door of your house. So every instance or every service has a specific port numbering. There are several different port types, port numberings. Linux by default is accessed through port number 22, which is the SSH port. Okay. Windows is accessed through RDP. Okay. 3389 is the port number for RDP. Linux is not accessible through RDP. Nor Windows is accessible through port 22. So you got to remember, these port numbers. There are several documents available out there in the internet. If you just Google, port numberings, you will see default port numbers and all that. Port numbers they range from 0 through 65535 or 65K, out of which 0 through 1024 ports are considered as default ports, or they are set aside ports. And then any port after 1025, like from 1025 to 65535, these are the port numbers that are open for any custom ports that you wanted to, build your service against. So in our case here, just remember, Linux is accessible through port 22. Windows, which is Linux, is accessible through SSH, the default one, and Windows is accessible through port 3389, which is the RDP port. And then your web browser, your web server is accessible through port 80, and your secure web server is accessible through port 443, which is HTTPS. Okay, just remember these, some of these for now, and then as we proceed along, you're going to be, seeing more and more ports coming in. So port is, let's say this is your house. So port is a front entrance or a backdoor entrance, or maybe some additional entrances. So these specific ports, they are just like punching a hole into a paper, or opening a door into your house, or opening a window into your house through which you access the outside world. So this is about how to do an internal access, like coming into your instance. Okay, and then there's another one, which is like there are services which are running inside your, let's say this is your Linux instance, and there are instances, or there are services running that need to go out, maybe to the internet or to some other server, in your infrastructure, right? So how do they access to the outside? That is called the external access or the outbound access. Okay, so the first one which we discussed was the internal access. That is the you poking the hole and the world is trying to access into it. That is the internal access, like access into the operating system or into the Linux instance. And if there are services running inside, if they need to access outside, that is the external or the outbound access. Okay, so security groups, we're going to create two different port openings in our infrastructure here. All right, so right hand side, you see that create security group here. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click on, and then I'm going to name it as my SG or my security group. Okay, I just name, or whatever the name you like. Okay, and description is, I'm gonna just put the description, allow default port access. Okay, which is SSH. I'm gonna allow SSH, RDP, and also I'm gonna allow HTTP, which is web access. Okay. All right, so we're picking the default VPC. Okay, just leave it as is. Inbound rules and outbound rules. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna just inbound rules. I'm gonna add. Remember, inbound rules, as we discussed, inbound is coming into your instance. Okay, so I'm gonna click add rule here. What is the type, protocol, port range, source, and description? Okay, so if I drop down here, Amazon gives us, offers us several different default ones, and also we can create our own custom TCP or UDP as well. So I'm going to pick here for my Linux. Remember, Linux is accessed through SSH. SSH listens to, by default, listens to port 22. Okay, so that's why I picked port 22 here. It is grayed out. We cannot change it. Source is this area is source, like who is coming in. Is it a small subset of machines that are allowed to access in, or is this the entire internet that is allowed to enter in? Okay, so that is what I'm going to define here. So I'm going to just for the sake of plain and straightforward method, and not considering other security options at this time, which we're going to discuss in our, once we go discuss the security topic. So I'm gonna just allow the entire world here. So we can allow custom anywhere or my IP. So if I just do anywhere, it means that it is giving me an option to 0000. Just remember, 4 zeros means an internet. 4 zeros means that everybody from the internet is allowed to get in. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna put the description here is SSH access for Linux. Okay. In the same security group, I'm gonna just add another rule for my Windows access. Remember in the description, put SSH, RDP, and HTTP. So I'm gonna just drop it down and I'm gonna search for RDP somewhere here. I have RDP here. So as soon as I pick RDP, 3389 is a default port it picked up. I can pick anywhere, so it will pick all zeros, or I can go with custom and I can just, you know, once I click on it, it is giving me option like 0008 16 or /16/24, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to pick the first one, 00/0. That means the entire word. Okay, it is going to be RDP access for Windows. Okay, now two of these services are created. What is the third? Two of the inbound holes are poked in. What is the third one? Third one, we are going for the HTTP, which is the web. I'm going to click on add rule here. I'm going to drop it down and I'm going to pick HTTP, which is port 80. Same thing. Let's just pick 00 and it is for web server access. Okay. All right. So these are the inbound rules that only these three holes are open on my Linux machine or on my, sorry, on my any of my instances. So let's say I have, this is my Linux instance and this is my Windows instance. If they are connected through, if they are connected through this security group, and this let's say the security group is covering Linux and is covering Windows, and this security group, we have poked holes only for three services only. One for SSH, and the one for RDP, and the third one is for HTTP. So if anybody from the internet trying to access the, let's say this is the SSH, so it will go, you know, take me to the Windows, sorry, to the Linux. From the internet, if anyone else is trying to connect through the RDP, they will connect to my Linux or to my Windows. Same thing if, let's say, the internet is trying to connect to the port 80, it's going to connect here. Whichever the server is running port 80 is going to connect there. Let's say Linux is running port 80, it will connect here. If the Windows is running, so it will connect here. Okay. All right. So this completes our inbound rules. Outbound rules is default. We're going with like all the traffic, all the protocols, everything from the inside the machine is allowed to go outside. Okay. What does it mean? It means this, let's say this is my Linux machine and this is my security group this machine is connected through, and this security group is allowing access to the outbound. What does it mean? It means that anything that is running inside the Linux, it is allowed to go outside to the internet. So that is called the external access, okay, or the outbound access, outbound rule. Okay, so this is what we're gonna just keep it by default here. We're gonna play around more in our subsequent sessions. All right, so I'm gonna click on create security group. All right, so it's creating it and it is created now. So remember, see this, my security group name is my_SG, and these are the inbound rules to it, and these are the outbound rules to it. Okay, did we give the tag name? Okay, we did not. So let's just give it a tag name here. All right, so manage tags. I'm gonna just add a tag. I'm gonna just name it as name, not the name. Or you know what? Let's just leave it as is for now. All right. So this concludes our video for the security group. I'll see you in our next video. Thank you.